Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have our AEW All-Out results and review. After a long show with an early start time, this show came out to be a pretty solid show. For me, I did think it kind of underdelivered a little bit, but the matches I did think were getting really good turned out to be really good. But yeah, overall still a great night from the AEW side, and yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah, a long day of wrestling. Watched about 7.5 hours of wrestling today between the AEW and the WWE show. But yeah, we got a long AEW card to get into right now, so we're going to jump straight into this one.
Yeah, we're going to go on with the pre-show to start off with, and we see the Ops defeat the Workhorsemen, Daniel Garcia defeating Katsuyori Shibata, and then Hologram and Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defeating the Frat House, and then also Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, and Queen Amanada and Willow Nightingale win the 8-women Tornado Tailgate Brawl. And that's your pre-show, but let's get to the main thing, and that is the Adam Copeland and Christian Cage tag team match taking on FTR. This would open up the show, and this was a big reaction for Edge, as you can imagine, in Toronto. And yeah, how'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, obviously big reason for him and Christian Cage to start the show off, being that they're both from there. You get the big hometown pop, Metalingus plays, all of that good stuff. So it was a very good time to see that entrance play out, just to see the reactions, the heel reaction, the face reactions, everything in between with the entrances and everything. It's always a fun time with that, especially with the AEW crowd. They kind of treat him a little bit better now. They sing a song out, do all the fun stuff. So very cool on that side. And the match wasn't that bad. I kind of had a little bit lower expectations for this one, but I feel like it raised the bar slightly. And then I'll let you get into the big surprise that happened. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with this one.
Yeah, during the end of the match, as Stokely Hathaway is getting kind of involved in the match, we see the debut of Beth Copeland, formerly known as Beth Phoenix, obviously, and she comes out and takes Stokely Hathaway away from ringside to kind of help even things out a little bit. This will kind of help Cope and Christian get the win, but this isn't the last time we'll see, because after they celebrate, we see Beth come back down to the ring. All three of them kind of hug. Christian kind of still being himself and, you know, kind of trying to not get too close with Cope again, but FTR come back out and they attack them, and we see FTR deliver a shatter machine to Beth Copeland. And yeah, weird way to end off this match, because it was like a big high because of the win for Cope and Christian, but then you get this immediate turnaround with Beth Phoenix getting the shatter machine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is going to spell out that this feud is not over with by any means, and we will get a part 2, part 3 of this potentially. Yeah, this was very good, and because it did good, I don't really mind them continuing this and letting it go forward. Maybe we see some other women step up on behalf of FTR to kind of fight off Beth Phoenix at some point. I guess we'll have to see who that might be. But yeah, gets a thumbs up for me for this one.
And then next up, we have the return of Eddie Kingston, where he went on to defeat Big Bill after being caught out. And yeah, this is what we expected from Eddie Kingston. Nothing too crazy. He does get the win. 7-minute match, so not too long. But yeah, this was fine for what it was. You got your average Eddie Kingston back and looked fine in ring as well. So yeah, I mean, not too much to talk about for this one, but really cool to see Eddie Kingston back.
Yeah, Eddie Kingston has never been someone who was my favorite in AEW, and unfortunately this match doesn't really kind of help my favorite to lean more towards the better side of it, but I am like somewhat familiar with his past in wrestling, so I do understand the lore of Eddie Kingston and everything and why everyone else does love him. But yeah, he's going to need a little bit more time for me to break into him. But yeah, this match, nothing too much to talk about, but I feel like it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, and then next up, we kick things back into action with the tables and tacks match between MJF and Mark Briscoe. And to kind of get things started with this match is you see Mark Briscoe go on and dump all the thumbtacks throughout the ring. So it kind of sets up the match to be this big, who's going to be the first to take a big bump on the tacks. And yeah, this was a really fun match. Mark Briscoe does manage to get the win here. But how'd you feel?
Yeah, this was a very fun match. I thought, like, going into it, I didn't really know what to expect from a tables and tacks match. I was kind of like, is it just going to be tables with tacks on it? Is it going to be, like, I wasn't really sure what it was going to be, but I was pleasantly surprised because it was just literally just tacks all over the ring, which I feel like added, like, that much more, like, I don't know if you want to call it emotion or whatever it was, but it felt like every single move that happened was like a big bump. Like even just simple suplexes were like, oh my god, that hurt so bad. This happened, and all the blood that happened, the tacks in the head and the arms, the backs. But yeah, this was just crazy. Obviously ends with the J Driller, and he does pick up the win. But yeah, that was just an insane match, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I mean, this goes to show how good, MJF and Mark Briscoe are in the ring. They were able to, set up a match where no matter what we do now, it's going to have a big meaning. It's going to feel big. Everybody's going to be in tune to it. And this was one of the matches I didn't notice the crowd get very hyped up for. And I feel like this was probably the loudest match, I'd say, besides maybe the main event. But yeah, this was a really fun match. Glad Mark Briscoe gets the win. I didn't expect him to get the win after, everything that's happened, but I am glad he did. He seems to be moving on. This isn't the last time we would see Mark Briscoe, because he teased a match on this upcoming week on Dynamite where he'll be teaming up with somebody from the conglomerate, or team up with Hologram and another member who he didn't say, but it is hinted to be Orange Cassidy. So this week we might see the return of Orange Cassidy, so should be a really cool week of Dynamite on this upcoming week. So yeah, good little match from Mark Briscoe, and a good way to kind of continue some momentum for himself.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to have Orange Cassidy back, obviously with the absence of a Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and Kenny Omega. Any way you can kind of bolster up the roster a little bit is kind of needed right now.
Yeah. And then next up, we seen the trios match between Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, now known as the Demand, taking on the Hurt Syndicate, where this newly formed Demand group gets the big win, and stands tall over Hurt Business.
Yeah, not sure of the Demand name, but I guess we'll have to see more about that later on. But yeah, definitely not a bad match at all. We've seen him do a crazy dive over the turnbuckle onto the outside, similar to what a Montez Ford would do. A very good spot from him. And Ricochet did all his Ricochet things, flying around the ring, selling for everyone. Bobby Lashley got all his power moves in. Shelton Benjamin looked amazing. And yeah, I feel like this was just it was a pretty fun match. Nothing too crazy or too good or entertaining about it necessarily, but I feel like Ricochet always puts on a show, so I was happy to see him involved.
Yeah, this was a great, solid match. I love, both these teams. I like that the Gates of Agony are getting a big opportunity to be alongside with Ricochet. He's been on a hot streak since, being in AEW, and I'm glad they're kind of being able to get it with him now, and maybe that rubs off on them, because I do think they're a really good tag team, so I'm glad they did get the win here. But after now that Bobby Lashley and Shelton take a loss here, I do kind of hope we do see maybe some singles pushes for both men. Maybe Bobby goes after that world title, whether it is, like I said, Fletcher or Hangman at the end of the night. I think that'd be fun. And Shelton going after Takeshita or Okada, something like that, I think would be some really fun matches. But yeah, pretty good match. Really enjoyed it. But moving on, we had the TBS Championship on the line, where Mercedes Moné took on Rio and stood tall once again to retain the TBS champion.
Yeah, this was a really good match. I'm not super familiar with Rio, so they had a lot of hype around this one, and I wasn't necessarily too hyped because I wasn't familiar with her. But yeah, every time I watch her, she does pretty good, and I feel like this was by far her best match, the best show that she has put on that I've seen. And yeah, she's someone who I'll be excited to look more forward to in the future now that I'm a little bit more familiar with her after seeing this match. But Mercedes does retain. I was kind of hoping she would lose, but at the same time, I kind of understand, being that she was away for so long, might need a little bit more time for her to win some gold.
Yeah, I did really enjoy this match. It's one of those things where it's kind of where the Roman matches were for that little bit of time, where it kind of feels like it's kind of obvious she's going to win, but it's at the point now where it kind of feels like at any moment she can lose it. So I do still like what Mercedes is doing. This is a great match to another great catalog she's had. But yeah, a pretty fine match. I'm glad she is a TBS champion still, and hopefully we do start seeing who is the next target from her, and who will take a TBS champion off of her.
Yeah, for sure.
And then next up, one of the best matches of the night, and that is for the Unified Championship, where Okada went up in a triple threat match against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. Yeah, this was a really good match. What do you think?
Yeah, up until this point of the night, this was my favorite match on the night. Okada, Takeshita, and Mascara Dorada put on an absolute show. We seen a very, very cool double Poison Rana from Poison Rana from Dorada onto Okada and Takeshita. That was very, very cool. And we seen just the usual Takeshita and Okada just beating the hell out of each other throughout this match. But yeah, this was very good. Takeshita, I was really hoping he was going to pick up the win here. I did pick him in our predictions, and it did kind of feel like we were heading that direction the more the match went on. However, Okada does get the win, and we did get kind of like a little face-off between the two at the end of the match, where it looked like, they won't be in the Don Callis family for long with each other.
Yeah, I really love what this match did for all three men. I love that Dorada got a lot of screen time and got a lot of action throughout this entire match. He was able to show off what he's all about, the high flying moves and stuff. So I'm really glad he got a lot of time to shine. We didn't get too much Okada and Takeshita action until like the very end, which I am glad because Okada wins. It sets up that match between these two one-on-one in a few months probably, which kind of builds that moment a little bit more. I really did enjoy that. I am upset, obviously, that Takeshi didn't get the win here, but kind of going back to what I said, I feel like we're in for another match between these two, where he probably will end up winning. The Continental Classic is going to be somewhere down the line, so I could see him doing that, potentially being a G1 winner and the Continental Classic winner in the same year. So, yeah, Takeshi, even though he takes a loss here, still doesn't look weak by any means, and yeah, Okada retains, and yeah, the Unified Championship is stuck in the Don Callis family.
No, a really good match and good showing from everyone involved. And I wasn't really a huge fan of Dorada leading up into this match, but I feel like after this match, he definitely went up my list of favorites a little bit.
Yeah, and then also somewhere on this point, it was announced that Tony Khan will have a special announcement on this week's Dynamite as well. I am kind of assuming this is going to be a Continental Classic announcement. Maybe we get where the finals will be held at, or something like that, or who some of the participants may be. But if it's not, I guess we could be in for a big surprise. Maybe those women's tag team belts that we kind of been hearing rumors about, hopefully those finally come to fruition. But yeah, the Tony Khan announcement will take place on this week's Dynamite.
Yeah.
And then next up, we had another big one, and that was the coffin match between Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. But once again, Jon Moxley stands tall, putting Darby Allin not only in a casket, but in a body bag inside the casket. But due to the help of a returning Pac.
Yeah, this obviously I'm a little bit biased for this one. Darby Allin is one of my favorites in all of AEW, so I don't really like that he lost this one. He also lost a coffin or casket match, whatever it was, at last year's All In against Jack Perry. So I don't really like that he's kind of losing his own stipulation quite often. I wish he would have got the big win. I was expecting the Death Riders to kind of be more towards the it's over side, but it's looking like maybe it's not that direction anymore, and we're gonna kind of keep them around and do something else with them. But yeah, really good match though. Had a lot of fun with this. A lot of blood. Didn't get as crazy as what I maybe thought it would get, but at the same time, I mean, at the end we literally seen Pac throw Darby out and he just like lands back first onto the casket, and the bump that he took on that shit was just crazy. Like, it just sounded nasty, and that's pretty much what ends up finishing the match, like besides what you said, putting him in the body bag then in the casket. But yeah, crazy match. Not a fan of the winner here, but I guess he'll get his win another day.
Yeah, I do agree that I do think that Darby Allin should have got the win here, but I don't mind the story because of what I think is potentially going to happen. On this past week's Dynamite, we've seen Darby Allin sit down with Bryan Danielson and say, hey, no matter what, please just don't interfere in this match. And Bryan Danielson did keep his word. He did hand him a weapon at the end of the match, or towards like the middle of the match rather. And he did keep his word, like I said, didn't interfere. So I feel like we will eventually see some type of Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin tag team maybe versus Jon Moxley and somebody. But yeah, I feel like something big is going to happen, whether that's going to be, like I said, Bryan Danielson or something else. I do think it's still very exciting. I hope this isn't the end for Darby's sake, because like you said, it does suck coming back, getting a kind of a big match, then just losing it. So I have my hopes that this won't be the end of the Darby Allin push for the return.
Yeah, let's hope not.
And then next up, we had the Women's World Championship on the line in the Fatal 4-Way, where Toni Storm went up against Kris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, and Thekla. And surprise, surprise, Kris Statlander is your new Women's World Championship after a sneaky win over Toni Storm as well. But yeah, cool moment for Kris. What did you think?
Yeah, I did predict Kris Statlander to get the win, I believe, but I didn't necessarily expect it at the same time. Like going into the match, I was like, she'll probably retain here. I don't know how it'll happen, but she'll probably retain. But I feel like the more closer I got, I felt like she would probably, maybe she'll join the Death Rider, she'll get a win that way, but she didn't have to. She gets a clean win, gets a well, I guess not necessarily clean. She gets a roll-up victory, if you want to count that clean or not. But yeah, this match was just really good all around. Obviously, the winner is going to be the big talking point of it. But besides that, the match was really good. Thekla absolutely looked amazing. I haven't been a huge fan of her past matches in AEW thus far, but I feel like this match really showed what she's capable of and showed that she can be part of that main event women's scene and be a world champion. Maybe not now, but at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite Thekla matches, like you said, since her debut. And yeah, I do really like this match in general. I like the idea of not having every match having to be a decisive win. You have Kris kind of getting a sneaky but very talented pin here on Toni, which took her by surprise, but she still got the win. She beat the champion, so there's no excuse there. But yeah, I think everybody had their time to shine. I wish this match was the co-main on the show. That would be the ladder match that would do that. And I also wish it went a little bit longer as well. But with all that being said, still a great match. I'm glad Kris is the champion. And yeah, hopefully we see an eventual Willow Nightingale versus Kris for the title. And yeah, I think that would be some of the big things you can do for this Kris Statlander reign.
Yeah, I'm typically never a fan of the roll-up victories, but when it's done right, it's done right, and this one was definitely done right, and I enjoyed it. Like you said, I do wish maybe it went on a few more minutes, but I am excited to see the future of Kris Statlander, and like you said, a Willow Nightingale match, and then maybe she'll get that win back on Mercedes that she needs.
Yeah, and then next up, as mentioned, the co-main event, it is for the World Tag Team Championship in a ladder match where Brodito went up against the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, and Hechicero and Josh Alexander of the Don Callis family. And to surprise, we see Brodito retain once again, and yeah, they are still your World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I did predict Brodito winning. They do pick it up. But I won't lie. Whenever we were watching it live, I was definitely not expecting them to win anymore. I felt like the Young Bucks were going to win at times. Felt like Jet Speed was going to win at times. Everyone kind of had their moment here. And that's kind of the best thing you can do when there's like a big mashup ladder match like this. Sometimes we see it in Money in the Bank matches and stuff where it's like all these people, but they never actually have a chance of winning. Doesn't necessarily feel like they're going to win. But right here, they did a really good job of making every single team feel like they had a chance of winning. They came really close, but never could get it done except for Brodito.
Yeah, I think the action in this match was perfect. Kind of all over the place at times. You had a lot of moves where one person would be doing another move, and then kind of everybody would kind of have their partner to work with. But yeah, Brodito getting the win here, I'm definitely not mad at. This tag team is obviously something that's doing very well for AEW, and I'm glad that Brodito, or Bandito, and Brody King are getting these opportunities to at least get some good TV time. Being here in the co-main event, I think, is nothing to be ashamed of by any means. So yeah, great match for everybody, and yeah. But after the match, after Brodito leaves the ring, Young Bucks are still in the ring, and they kind of get up. And as they're about to walk out, we see the return of Jack Perry. He tries to attack the Young Bucks, but obviously with a numbers advantage, the Bucks take him out. But as they're about to hit an EVP trigger, the lights go out, and we get a vignette of Jack Perry digging out a casket from the grave, pulling him out, bringing him to his house, and bringing him back to life, his own Frankenstein, and that would be the one and only Luchasaurus, to finally put together the Jungle Express back together. And yeah, the crowd went wild after they kind of stood tall. The music played, and yeah, a really cool moment for Jack Perry. Obviously, the past 2 years basically have been a very strange 2 years for him, from being a guy who they had the potential, but then had the stuff with CM Punk, obviously, and then everything else that kind of transpired. So yeah, crazy year, but he's back with Luchasaurus, and I think this can be really good for him, going back to being a babyface.
Yeah, Jack Perry's kind of a weird one in AEW. Had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and things looked like it was going to work out for him at some point with the scapegoat thing. I was like, okay, he won the TNT title. I'm pretty excited for it. It's doing really well. And then it kind of just took a nosedive out of nowhere, and we haven't really recovered since then. But this was a really good showing for him, and I do like Luchasaurus. I do like Jack Perry. They both do really good in-ring stuff. So, yeah, I'll be excited to see them back as a tag team, because it kind of bolsters up that tag team roster that they look like they're trying to improve right now.
Yeah, and it's also worth mentioning that somewhere on this show we've seen Max Caster and Anthony Bowen arguing with Jerry Lynn in the middle, and he said he has a match planned for him on either Collision or Dynamite this week, to kind of maybe resolve some of the issues between the two, and it kind of seems like we might be getting an Acclaim reunion as well. So yeah, and there's a lot of tag teams I think AEW seems to kind of be putting back together to maybe revamp this tag team division. It kind of feels like the past few months have been pretty bad for this tag team titles. So yeah, maybe we get a little bit of a resurgence for that tag team division.
Yeah,
But now for the main event, it is Kyle Fletcher going up against Hangman Adam Page for the World Championship. Now remember, the stipulation was any Don Callis family member showed up or interfered, he would be stripped of the TNT champion and obviously also lose the match. But to no surprise, Hangman Adam Page wins the match to retain his World Champion.
Yeah, I don't think I was necessarily ever really thinking Fletcher was going to win here. Obviously, they had a lot of moments in the match where I bid on it, and I thought, he was going to get the 3 count. But I kind of always had the feeling Hangman was going to pick up the win here going into the match as well. I mentioned it to you while we were watching it, but I kind of felt like maybe Takeshita would come out and cost Fletcher as kind of like a payback to the Don Callis family to kind of officially split from them. That doesn't end up happening either. He just gets a clean win. I feel like that was the right call. They went 38 minutes, and it did feel long, but at the same time, it was the good kind of long. The one where it was like, okay, it could end at any moment, but the fact that they keep going is letting you know that something crazy is going to happen, and we did kind of get that crazy finish after a big dead eye off the top rope from Hangman Adam Page, and it looked devastating. There was a lot of things that looked devastating during this match from Fletcher and Hangman's side. But yeah, this match was everything that you wanted it to be. Hangman looks good as ever, and I don't think Fletcher is going to be going anywhere soon from this main event scene.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Fletcher, again, proves why he is the future of AEW. He's a guy who's going to be there for quite a while. And, yeah, we've seen moves from Kyle Fletcher doing the hidden blade. We've seen Hangman hit a V-trigger. He tried to hit the one-winged angel. He ended up hitting a kill shot from Swerve. So, yeah, little cool callbacks from each person here. But, yeah, I'm glad Hangman retains. I want this title reign to be a long one and a good one. I'm glad Kyle Fletcher got the opportunity to be in this match to show off again, like I said, why he is one of those guys to, really say that he's the future. And, yeah, this is a really fun match and a great way to end the night.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, AEW absolutely killed it this show. I had a ton of fun watching this one. But what was your favorite match of the night here?
I think without going Hangman and Fletcher, I think that one kind of is the best. I do think the tag team ladder match was also really good, but I also can't go against the unified championship match between Okada, Takeshi, and Narada.
Yeah, for sure. But we appreciate you guys for watching, and we're going to catch you guys in the next one.